gonna have a good day. We're gonna have a good day.
Oh, welcome back. There's a lot going on here in the studio. Kelle Sutliff is a psychic medium and investigator who says we need to listen up because the other side is talking. A new book. Kelle, welcome home, I should say.
Thank you. It's great to be back home. It's always good to be back in Michigan.
You grew up in, where did you grow up
I grew
exactly?
up in Downriver area.
Yeah.
And my last haunts were in Royal Oak before I left to Boston about 20 years ago. And yeah, and it's great to kick off my book here back home, and it's a pleasure, actually.
I have a lot to ask you about. So, when does a person realize that they are a psychic medium? What is a psychic medium?
You know what? A psychic medium is someone actually who uses their intuition as a gift, because psychic intuition is a gift. And a psychic medium is someone actually who can read psychically what's going on with your world on your day-to-day basis. But the medium perspective is actually, I'm able to connect with people on the other side to get messages from past loved ones. So it provides a lot of closure for family. So it's,
and how do you realize? We all have intuition, right?
Yes, you're born with intuition. It's our sixth sense. It's our God-given gift to actually be of usefulness for our lives. And
how? But you have a different level of intuition.
Right.
Okay.
I was born with this gift. I had a grandmother who was very intuitive. Intuitiveness runs in families. Psychicness runs in families. You will find many families who have a grandmother, mother, whomever who is intuitive, and it channels down into generation after generation.
Okay. And then was there a moment, or is there? Can you describe an event where you said, "Oh my gosh"?
You know what?
I knew that.
You know, when I was little, 9 years old when I had my first experience, and it was after my grandmother had passed away, and in that moment, she came to me and gave me messages of, you know, to my mom and to talk to me, and I thought, hey, when people pass away, that's exactly what they do. They just come back and talk to you. And it was in that early stage of my world that I realized I thought everybody did that.
Right.
But obviously, through life and everything, I realized that no one actually does that.
They're just talking to you.
Yes. So it was many experiences throughout my life, and then I shut it off for 20 years, and consequently, then I opened it up again. What
in the book, and I'm sorry we have to rush a little bit because we have so much breaking news with GM announcement, so I apologize for that. And one of the stories that you recount in the book is how you helped the family of Joanne Matuk-Romaine, who was a woman, Grosse Pointe woman, who went missing about 4 years ago.
Exactly.
And her body couldn't be found. Her family reached out to you, and you say that you were able to help the family eventually find her body.
Yes. So 4 years ago, actually, what happened is I was literally sitting in my kitchen in Massachusetts, and I saw a figure in my kitchen, and when I did that, sometimes spirit will show up ahead of time before you're going to do a reading, and that sounds funny to people, but it's like that's what they do. And I saw this figure, and I knew I was going to get a call. And at 10:30 that night, someone called me to read for this family, and in doing so, the next day as I read, the figure that I saw and the figure that I just described was actually the woman, Joanne.
Okay.
And in doing so, in that transition, I provided information for that family to say that she was actually, I knew she was passed. I knew she passed. I knew she didn't commit suicide. I knew that she was actually going to be found. And I gave the timing of when she would be found. And she was found, and what I saw actually visually was that she was going to be found in the water, by a bridge, by a fish. People fished there. And in that process, I knew she was going to be found in the first part of spring. She was found March 21st. 2 fishermen found her. She was northwest of this area that I saw, by a bridge. And the information was provided, and I continually work with this.
Where you're still working with the family as they still are struggling to figure out what happened to their mom.
Right.
Why did you write the book? Is it for people who say that's a bunch of nonsense?
You know, I wrote the book because, you know what, our intuition is a guide to all of us, and you know what, intuition and psychic ability is not nonsense. And I wrote it from a perspective of you know, many cases, many stories. I do many investigations. I work with Boston University in cases, and I work with private families, obviously groups that I work with as a psychic investigator and helping finding the missing. I even want to work with the 2 boys that they're looking for here in Detroit. I just heard of that recently. So the book is actually more or less a guide, and to be able for people to provide it and use it and trust your intuition. That's the most message.
Well, the book is called Listen Up, The Other Side is Talking. Kelle Sutliff, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Really interesting stuff. Jason.
My pleasure.